I think the feedback loop is something that you point to is very important in risk oversight, but probably one of the most difficult in terms of implementing.
I think for any function or process in business, if you want to improve it, you need to have a feedback loop. So first step is, what is the objective of the process? And what are the things that make up the process in terms of people, process, technology, culture? And then monitor the results. And if the results are not consistent with the objectives, then you may want to consider making changes in the underlying areas, whether it's changing people, process, technology, or influencing the culture. So for risk management, it's the same thing. What is the objective? And I think one of the key objectives of risk management is to minimize unexpected earnings volatility. So that's very different than earnings volatility, because sometimes you might want to take on more risks and you may be exposed to higher degrees of earnings volatility. That's not a bad thing. What is a bad thing is if you have earnings volatility coming from sources that you don't understand, right? So you're taking interest rate risk or foreign exchange risk, or something happens in terms of a regulatory issue. Those are things that you want to minimize. So if you define the objectives of enterprise risk management as to minimizing unexpected earnings volatility, then you could measure that, right? You could look at earnings at risk in the beginning of a period. You could look at what really happened at the end of the period in terms of earnings attribution and be able to isolate unexpected earnings volatility. And so that provides you a continuous feedback loop to the degree that you see higher levels of unexpected earnings volatility, then you may want to make changes to the process.
Mm-hmm. Why is the feedback loop so difficult? Why is that the hardest part of the process to implement?
Well, it's really connecting the dots. So many companies do earnings volatility analysis. So they have expected earnings and they measure what happens if we don't meet our projections, what happens if interest rates change or foreign exchange rates change. So they understand that, and they also understand, budget versus actual. Right? They do that every month, every quarter, but they don't put it together. So it's really connecting the dots, and if you could put it together, then you could isolate the measurement of unexpected earnings variance.